Hi, welcome to Little Mountain Mama. My name's Chelsea, and today is recipe number 4 of our 12 recipes of Christmas series. I will be doing soup beans, cornbread, and chocolate chip cookies. For soup beans, it's really simple. You just want to put just less than half of your crock pot full of soup beans, dried pinto beans, and then you want to fill it up with water almost all the way to the top, because these soup beans are going to swell a lot. So that's what I did here. And then I just turn the heat up to high, and I let this cook overnight, covered of course. This is my favorite way to cook soup beans, unless I have a big wood stove and all day to cook them, because that's great. The one thing these soup beans were missing for me was bacon grease. Bacon grease is like, yes. Also, when you add salt to soup beans, add as much as you think that you need, and then add about, 5 shakes more, because it always seems like you have too much salt, and it's usually not enough. It's really hard to oversalt the soup beans. Don't pour a whole can of salt in there, though. That'd be just too much. Don't do that. So these cooked overnight, covered on high. Got up this morning, and oh my goodness, my house smelled so good. And look how good these beans look. This is how you know when they're done. When your water turns brown and your beans are pretty well brown, and they smush easily. You don't have to press them too hard. Kind of like taters, And this is how I do my cornbread. So my granny taught me how to make cornbread, and she said to start off with a cast iron skillet, pour you a little bit of olive oil in there, wipe it around with a good paper towel, get it all spread in there real good, and then you put your skillet in the oven. And I baked at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, but I put my skillet in the oven, and then I let that preheat with my oven, so that by the time that I get my cornbread done, ready to put in the oven, my skillet is nice and hot, and the oil is nice and hot. It makes your cornbread come out so good. Now, the way I make cornbread is the way my granny taught me, and she said it's 1 cup of flour per 2 cups of cornmeal. 1 egg, a pinch of salt, a capful of oil, and then you mix all that together, and then it's going to take about 2.5 cups of milk to get about the right consistency. Only add in about 1/2 cup of milk at a time. You want your batter to be about the consistency of a little bit of a thicker pancake batter, maybe a cake batter kind of consistency. A little bit thick. You definitely don't want it too runny. But you just give it a good mix till you get to the right consistency, and then you pop that bad boy in that hot cast iron skillet, and let me tell you something, when that sets up, oh boy, that's just good. It's good. It's happiness in a skillet. Now, as you can see around the edges, it's already starting to kind of fry. So your skillet is going to be hot enough that it almost fries the bottom layer of your cornbread before you even put it in. Now, the way to tell when cornbread's done, you can either stick a toothpick in the center like you would a cake, and it'll come back out with maybe a few crumbles, but there should be no batter at all. Now, like that. Yeah, you see the little crumbles on my finger. That's what it should look like. But, also another way to tell is if you knock on top. Be very careful when you do this because it is hot. But if you knock on top and it sounds hollow, it's ready. That's the only other way I can tell you to do it. That's my favorite way. After a while of doing this, though, you kind of get an eyeball for it, so then it becomes a lot easier to tell when things are done. Especially if the middle is not sloshing. You don't never want to see a sloshy middle to your cornbread. And it looks dark brown, but it's not burnt. It's kind of hard to burn your cornbread. You have to leave it in there for quite a long time. You better have to forget that it exists. And that's hard to do. Cornbread's good. Now that our cornbread's done, we're going to start making these chocolate chip cookies. We're going to start with 2 room temperature eggs and a cup's worth of butter. That room temperature makes it easier to mix. That's about 2 sticks of butter. Seems like a lot, and it is a lot. It's also delicious. I use a hand mixer. I don't own a stand mixer yet. Maybe one of these days, but for now, my handy dandy hand mixer will do. So I just mix it until it's all like, I tried to get it fluffy as I could. You want to mix your wet ingredients first. And I'm really sorry. My camera has the same kind of focus that I do. It just kind of comes and goes, I guess. Maybe one of these days we'll get it lined out. We'll get its eyes checked and it'll do good. Anyways, so I added that second stick of butter in and just mixed it until everything came together and was kind of fluffy. I mixed all my wet ingredients, and then I started adding a cup of brown sugar, and brown sugar just makes everything nice. So good, I'll say it twice. Brown sugar makes everything nice. And then I added, I think it was like a 1/3 cup of sugar. Granulated sugar. I'll have the actual measurements down in my description below if you want to check it out. And then I just sifted my baking soda because it tends to want to clump up for whatever reason. So I just sifted that and gave that a quick mix, and then I added a pinch of sea salt. A pinch of sea salt. Sea salt is good. I've just recently started using it. I throw it in everything. Pretty soon I'll find something else, I'm sure. But right now, that's my excitement in life is sea salt. It takes about 3 cups of flour. And I just added those in one at a time until I got them thoroughly mixed through. And now for my favorite part, adding the chocolate chips. Ooh, buddy. And I didn't just use one kind of chocolate chip. Obviously, I used milk chocolate and probably semi-sweet in there too. Just whatever chocolate chips you have on hand will make a good chocolate chip cookie. Just chocolate chips. You can't go wrong with a chocolate chip. Unless it's dark chocolate, and then shame on you. I'm just kidding. If you like dark chocolate, enjoy your dark chocolate. That's fine. Now here they are in all their chocolate chip glory. And they were good. Well, that wraps it up for recipe number 4. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, come back and see us sometime. Have a blessed day.